everyone, it's Julia, and I'm back today with another art play on fabric. I have been just itching to try these ColorBursts on fabric, and I did a recent craft haul on these, and I wanted just to experiment and see how it worked, and to see if it traveled and moved through the fibers, and it did. I got some really fun results. Before I talk about the fabric, I just wanted to say that I even was able to do the zipper, and lots of color, lots of just fun. These are little pencil cases that I thought would be great for art supplies or your favorite colored pencils or something like that. I just think they're bright and cheerful and a lot of fun. Now the fabric that I used on this is called multi-purpose cloth, or MPC, and it's by Ro-lon. Years ago when I managed a fabric store, we sold it as a blackout fabric, similar like a drapery fabric. It is 54 inches wide, so it is quite wide, and what I love about it is it doesn't fray at all. You don't need to line it. It has a lot of structure to it, so you don't need a stabilizer. It just is wonderful for bags or pencil cases and that type of thing. I get in a couple of different places that you can purchase this, and I will link them all down below. I've seen it on Amazon, I've seen it at Dick Blick, and I've seen it at Joann Fabrics. I usually get it from Dick Blick on a roll, 10 yards to a roll, 54 inches wide. It's normally like $18.99 a yard, and the Dick Blick will run a sale occasionally with free shipping, and that's when I pick it up. But I realize that a lot of you don't want a big roll of it, or just want to experiment with smaller pieces that aren't so expensive. And so I am listing this as a supply in my Etsy shop, and I am doing 3 pieces 10 by 12, which is what I use for the pencil cases. So I'm going to also link that down below if any of you are interested at all in experimenting and having fun with it. I thought that would be a way to do it without having to get 10 yards of it. So I hope you enjoy this video. A lot of it I have sped up and just did a voiceover on. Some of it I've actually did some speaking, especially through the supplies. So stick with it. I hope you enjoy this. Thanks so much for watching. Some of the supplies that I'm going to be using for my pencil case, the fabric is the MPC, or the multi-purpose cloth fabric. This is an awesome fabric in that it doesn't need to be lined, and it doesn't fray. It's stiff, almost similar to a canvas. I'm also using my ColorBurst. I've chosen 3 different colors: the orchid, the turquoise, and the lime green. Instead of activating these with water, I am going to be activating with the golden GAC 900 fabric medium, and this needs to be heat set, so I will be heat setting with an iron after I get done, after it dries, after I get done painting and it dries. But I'm putting this into a little mini spray bottle and just going to be spraying it on after I put the ColorBursts on. I also have a white zipper here, and I'm going to try to add some color to this with the ColorBurst as well. This is 100% polyester. I don't know how it's going to take as far as the coloring it. We'll see. The MPC is mostly polyester also. I think it's 80 poly and 20 cotton. So that's the content of this. This piece measures 10 by 12, and I will be cutting it down a little bit for the pencil case. And I have a 12-inch zipper, and this will be cut down also a little. So let's just experiment and see what happens. I'm watching previous videos on the ColorBurst. I know that they're just very potent. Like a little bit goes a long ways. The ColorBurst is a powder form, and I find just tapping the bottle gives enough of the color on the piece. Spraying it or squeezing the bottle, and I got way too much on. Here I'm just spraying some of the fabric medium and then adding more of the color, doing some more spraying with the fabric medium, adding color to the zipper in the same way. The color just really popped on the zipper. Picking up some of the waste, and now I just take my finger. I just felt it needed to be moved a bit more. Taking my finger and just working it. I grabbed a stencil and I'm putting some of the color bursts on a plastic lid and then putting some of the fabric medium in and just painting through the stencil just to add another layer. And I love how this turned out. Just kind of it filled in a little bit, and it just something that I felt it just needed. I love as this dried, the color bursts moved into the fibers and really turned out fun. Here's another piece that I did, and I hung this one to dry, and I love the drip effect that I got from it. Heat setting, and it takes a while to heat set this fabric medium, about 5 minutes. So I'm just keeping my iron moving. I also heat set the zipper, making sure I didn't touch the teeth at all because they would melt. Not sure if this was even necessary. I don't think these bags are going to be washed, but I didn't want it to rub off on something either. To add some color to the back of these, which are going to be the inside of the bag, I'm just rolling or using my brayer and just getting some paint on the back. And now I'm cutting an inch off the side, and I use that as part of my zipper tabs and cutting down the middle. So each piece is 6 inches by 9 inches, squaring this up a little bit too. I found this trim and I decided I wanted to add this to my project. I thought the colors really popped, and I will just add another little detail to it. And also this Donna Downey stamp. This is one of my favorite stamps, and I'll link that also down below. But I just decided on the word inspire. In order to get a good imprint, I thought I was going to have to knock some of this paint back in the background a little bit, so I'm adding some white gesso here. I'm using my Ranger Archival permanent ink and just inking up that stamp and stamping this down. Make really getting into the corners. I want a good impression here. And there we go. I was really happy with how that turned out. At my sewing machine, I decided just to do a feather stitch to get this trim on. And I'm using a multicolored thread here to make sure that I'm getting these somewhat even between the front and the back side. I just butt up one piece to another. I'm not measuring necessarily. I'm just kind of eyeballing it. I'm adding the next piece of trim just with a narrow zigzag. And now I have my free motion foot on, and I had my feed dogs dropped. I wanted just to add another layer of some fun stitching and just free motion this on, going over my trims. I'm also adding a box around the word just to kind of pronounce it a little bit more. And here I'm traveling and going to be just doing some spirals and just adding some more swirls and some more interest to the bag. On this piece, I decided I'm just going to emphasize some of those drips. Again with a multicolored thread, and I'm just outlining some of those and just adding a really neat design within the design. And then on the other side of this one, I added a large flower with just free motion stitching. Onto the zipper, I cut a piece from my scrap measuring 1 inch by 1 1/4 inch. I start on the stopper end and cut that extra fabric away, and then enclose that with my tab. Going to the sewing machine again, and I'm just going to be stitching really close to the edge, making sure I don't hit that metal piece. And I have that attached now. The zipper is cut 1 inch shorter than the bag, making sure that that zipper pull is on the side that you're going to be saving. Otherwise, you're going to ruin your zipper. And so I'm measuring here, and it's my piece is 9 inches, and I want my zipper to be 1 inch shorter than that. So I'll be cutting that at 8 inches. And sorry about the wiggle here. My camera was mounted up above and it shook it a little bit. But I will be adding this next piece and then just enclosing that the same way as I did on the other side of the zipper and stitching it across. And this is what the zippers look like when they're done. This is the one I painted. It's so colorful and fun. Laying this face down, and notice, and I'm using clips, it's hard to pin this fabric, but there's a 1/2 inch on both sides of this zipper. And notice how my zipper pull is in the center. This is how I put zippers in, and it's the easiest way, because the hardest part about the zipper is that pull. Once a few inches are sewn, then I can get in there and fiddle with that until that is up on top again, and then I'm free to go. This will be finger pressed and top stitched, but I'm going to add the other piece first. And again, the stop is in the middle, and now I'm fiddling with it to move it up on top, and then again, just easy to sew that zipper right in. Removing my clips. And now it's on to the top stitching and then closing up the bag. Before you close up the bag, you want to make sure your zipper is open so you have a way to turn it. And I am double stitching all the way around this and then trimming my corners and trimming off the excess. I decided to box these corners so the pencil pouch will stand up. And so just sewing across the bottom of this triangle on both ends. A little bit less than 1 inch up because I don't want too much of the bag to be taken away, but probably about 3/4 of an inch on the bottom there. And then turning it. And here's some close-ups of the two bags. They're bright, they're fun, and what a nice gift for anybody who is an artist or just has a lot of collection of things. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you have a chance to create today. Thanks so much for watching.